Hey, how's it going? Good morning. Welcome to my front room. That's not the best framing by me, but let's sort it out. Easily fixed. There we go. That should be better. How are we doing? I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're ready to do some good smart mobility. So a little bit of housekeeping about what this is about and how we make this work and how we can. I think that this works so well across the board, no matter where you are in your fitness, mobility, strength journey, no matter how old, how young you are. I think there's something for you in this class because it's about exploration and you understanding what you're working with and working things out, trying to understand how it is that your body works so you can make it work nice, so you can make it keep getting better and keep improving on how you move and how you can make your way through this world, whether that is in your play, exercise, work, looking after your kids, your grandkids. It doesn't matter. And it all comes down to you paying attention to the fine details of how you get into whatever shape it is. Like even just now as you're stood waiting for me to give you instructions, or if you sat waiting for me to give you instructions, there's something that you can think about how what shape you've placed yourself in that will show you your habits. And what we want is to expand your horizons so that you've got more options to be able to be in different shapes and to be confident getting in and out of these shapes, because that's kind of the key, that you can run and land and jump and make mistakes and nearly fall over but manage to pull yourself back and be able to fix things, rather than if your knees only ever do one thing, they'll only ever do one thing and all the load goes through that one shape. It batters it and batters it and batters it and batters it, and we're resilient as humans, but you've only got so long pushing into the same shape all the time. It's when you can be smart about it and progressively load up your tissues, your joints, your muscles to get them better at dealing with these shapes, but then also giving them more options so that you don't only bend your knee in one way. And I'm just using the knee as an example, but if your knee only ever does slow walking, if you break into a run, then there's a good chance that knee's not going to know how to deal, something's going to go wrong. You just got to give yourself more options, more thinking, more understanding how to make all of your stuff work nice. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get started. So if you just start kind of perched on the edge of your sofa, on the edge of a bed, on the edge of a stool, whatever you've got is absolutely fine. Just relax your jaw, relax your tongue, and breathe. See if you can soften your shoulders down a little bit. Let your fingers relax. Feel what it feels like to get your lungs to expand. And that comes from your breathing apparatus, all these muscles around your belly, around your rib cage, even in your back. It gives the space to be able to let you expand these lungs and then push the air out. We talk a lot about getting oxygen into our bodies and oxygen to our muscles to help us perform. That's super important. Of course it is. But what's also important is the opposing thing of this is balancing out your carbon dioxide levels in your blood. So when you breathe out carbon dioxide. The trees breathe it in, but that's another story. That when we get out of breath, if you hold your breath, even, you get this kind of feeling of thirst for air. You know that if you hold your breath, you're like, oh, I want to breathe, I want to breathe, I want to breathe. The thing that triggers that is your body asking for the carbon dioxide to be leveled out. You're not breathing out, so you're not getting rid of that carbon dioxide. It's not the lack of oxygen, because we're breathing in oxygen. There's a lot of oxygen in our blood. It holds it, passes it around. It's a long journey. So it's not the lack of oxygen that gives us that thirst for air, it's the breathing out. So maybe if we breathe out really well, and slow it down, make it nasal, maybe we can teach ourselves to perform a little bit better. You get a bit more comfortable with that really slight thirst for air when you want to breathe, but if you are breathing, you're making it happen, and it's fine. You get comfortable being uncomfortable until what used to be uncomfortable isn't uncomfortable anymore. You just get a bit fitter, you get a bit more space to perform. And let's see, you can just squeeze rib cage down to the side of your hips, and rib cage down to the side of your hips. Breathe, move. See if you can relax your jaw. Just get hold of this sideways bend of your spine. I spend so much time hammering this point home that our spine reacts to everything that we do with our arms and our legs. And if you just let habit and whatever shape you happen to fall into just kind of happen, you might be missing out on a load of strengths or abilities that you could otherwise learn if you pay attention to the small details. So let's pay attention to small details as we think about our spine moving. We're going to do cat-cow in a second where you go on all fours, but not yet. I want you to put your hands on your knees like this and flip rib cage up like this. So it's bottom rib lifts and then pull back and round your back, and then lift and then pull back, and lift and then pull back. Just move slowly. See if you can relax your jaw. Just see what it feels like to move your spine in this fashion, and then see if you've got what you need to be able to make this stuff happen one vertebra at a time. And upright in this position, it's kind of hard, but you can teach yourself this. So let's just start from a really specific point. Hands on your knees, tuck your chin into your chest, and try and pull your coccyx down towards your seat, whatever you sat on, and pull the sternum back this way. And then lift your head to look up, and then try and pull shoulders back, maybe that helps. And then you lift your sternum, and then at the last minute you come into flipping this rib cage up, looking up, and trying to lift this so you're into back bend, and then start from the lower back, try and unravel lumbar spine, a bit further up your back, and I'm much better at going that way. This from the top. Oh, I find it so much harder. And just do one more like this. And what I'd really like is if you don't know what's going on and you're just trying to make something happen, trying to make it specific, like someone's just passed you an instrument you've never played before, you don't know how to play it, and they're just like, make some sounds, and you just like strum the strings, blow into the mouthpiece bit, you play. And that's what I'm after, this bit of play that you explore and see what happens. And then as you play, if someone shows you a little bit more intricate things, a bit more specifically, and you can build from that. Let's get into this from all fours. If you tuck your chin, lift the sternum, tuck tailbone under, and then start from pelvis first. So pelvis first, moving one vertebra at a time up your back, into your neck, top of your back, unravel, and just keep moving just a little bit at a time. Breathing. See if you can work this out. Look at more and more of how to make this specific stuff happen. So you're moving one vertebra at a time from lower back to your neck. And then let's just have a little think about what we would do just without any instructions if you just did back bends. So do more global spine movement like this. Breathe. That's it. Okay. And then even more specifically into some spine stuff, you come down kneeling like this, so you kind of sat on your feet. If you cross your arms over your chest, curl your spine over like this. So you're pulling ribcage down, I want you to rotate and just hold this shape for a second. So you're doing a crunch, and then you rotate, and then you dip to the side, and then lean back and around, and then land back where we started, crunched up. Rotate the other way, dip to the side, and lean back and around, back to crunch. Keep moving and breathing. And just try and feel what happens. So do this really slow, and I prefer this when I set my gaze in front of me and kind of keep my head level as my spine does stuff. This works much better for me. Than if I go like this, look, and my head moves around with me, I lose connection to it a little bit. I can't feel the corners quite as well. My eyes trick me into thinking I'm doing it better. Yes, there we go. And then, since we've just done a load of articulation for our spine, let's just have a little quick think about stability. So if you put your hands down into your thighs and push your hands down as hard as you can, you feel the muscles in your belly tense, keep pushing down, breathe. Keep shoulders down, push your hands down and breathe. You should be able to feel a little bit of tension happen in these muscles in your belly. See if you can relax your jaw. That's it. Then if we think about coming into plank, so when you go, push your hands into the floor, tuck your toes, lift your knees. I've got a stable spine here, push your chest higher, and then come up into downward facing dog. So reaching your heels towards the floor, pushing fingertips down, try and lift your hips. See if you can find even weight through hands and feet. Lift your hips higher, lengthen your spine. Keep holding this here. And swing your chest forwards and see if you can take a big step forwards with your right foot and then land this back knee and go forwards and backwards. I kind of like this if I put my hands either side of my foot. This helps me just a little bit. As I go back, stretch hamstrings. As I pull forwards, I contract hamstrings. So this muscle on the underside of my thigh is going from stretch to contract, stretch to contract, and we're just trying to explore how this muscle works, what it feels like. There we go. Let's try the other side. Bring this foot forwards, going from stretch to contract. So imagine pulling yourself forwards with this front foot. So as you pull forwards, this foot kind of pulls on the floor. That's it. Keep this going. Let's go two more. Last one. There we go. And then coming up into a forward fold. So just reaching down for your toes. I want you to just have a look at the shape of my body as I'm in this, and look at the shape of my back as I go palms to floor. You don't need to be that flexible. You'll notice that I've got a little bend in my knees. I prefer that. I'm quite happy to have knees kind of locked. But I'd much prefer to have a little bit of play as long as I can feel this stretch here. Now, I'm sharing this stretch into these muscles here. We don't think about that so much. I want you to be able to get from this shape into the opposing shape, the opposite shape. So we've got full range from our spine. Can you lift your chest, lift your collarbone, and still feel this hamstring stretch as you lift this bottom rib away from your belly button? So you're trying to imagine lifting this, pulling shoulders down, pouring weight forwards into your toes, and breathing here. Stand all the way up, and then let's just have a little think about those hamstrings. So this is one of my favourite things to do just now, It really helps me to tune into what's going on in this posterior chain. So if you've got split feet like this, so this heel, I don't want it much further forwards than the toes on the other foot, so you can kind of see my toes and my heel are kind of in line. I've got a little bend in both knees, and I'm going to push down the outside edge of both feet. Keep this little bend in both knees, flip your rib cage up, and then hinge down until you find hamstring stretch, and then lift yourself back up. And then find hamstring stretch, and then lift yourself back up. So keep this bottom rib flipped up as much as you can. Relax your jaw, keep going down and back up, down, back up. Keep this moving. Let's go 2 more. Last one. Yes. And then swap feet. So you've got heel just in front of the other foot. Little bend in both knees. Pin down the outside edge of both feet. Flip your rib cage up and hinge down and pick yourself back up. And I find this important to feel how I can get from stretch here back to upright, and that journey using the muscle that's being stretched teaches me about how this performs, because we can do hamstring stretches all day. It doesn't really relate to the performance of the hamstring very often unless you look at how it works. So remember to keep this spine position as you come down and back up. Let's just go 1 more. Yes, there we go. And let's start. I'm really going to keep going on with this same style of stretching things stood upright. So I want you to find your heel up on top of something. It can be a sofa, it can be a bed, it can be something even lower like this. It's absolutely fine because you could just stretch like this. Work it out that you can have this upright position, and then pull your belly forwards but lift this bottom rib. Shoulders down away from ears. Find this stretch first, and then we're going to explore things. I want you to do side bend first. So from the spine, still keeping the feeling of stretching the underside of this leg that's up on the sofa, but you can still find side bend. Then I want you to crunch over and lift back up. Crunch over and lift back up. That's it. And then pull yourself as far forwards as you can, but lift this bottom rib. So really want to see if we can keep this kind of neutral spine thing going on with the lower back here while you find this hamstring stretch. Just hang out here. Okay. Now start driving your heel down. So you're pushing hard through the sofa with your heel. Keep pushing. You can feel this muscle contract as you push down. Feel this muscle getting stronger and stronger. Keep driving down, keep driving down. Go in 3, 2, 1. Lift your chest. I want you to put your hand on top of your thigh and lift your thigh up into your hand. And feel this hip flexor. Give it something to push against. And you should be able to find it just a little bit more. So keep trying to lift this leg. 3, 2, 1. And then stretch again. That's cool. Okay, and then, like always, I want to just check in with the function of this stuff. Can you slide your heel up the inside of your leg and get this heel as close to your bum as you can? Keep this going. That's it. Let's go 2 more. Perfect. Alright, and then put this foot up on here. Pull toes back towards your body. We're just into this other leg. So remember we did a little bit of exploration. So if you cross your arms over your chest, do a couple of side bends first. Then do some crunching over and lifting up. And you're keeping this stretch on the hamstring. I want you to really feel like this hamstring is stretched out, and you can move other parts of your body at the same time without losing the connection to this. What's hopefully happening is you're keeping your pelvis kind of stable exactly where it is, and then let's just hang out in this hamstring stretch. Just keep holding this here. Shoulders down away from ears. See if you can find any more. That's it. Okay. Let's get into the hard work now. Drive your heel down hard, like really hard. Like push as hard as you can with your heel. Keep driving this heel, pushing harder and harder and harder. Keep pushing. Keep this going. Keep pushing down. Like 3, 2, 1. Lift your chest, put your hand on top of your thigh, and then try and lift your thigh up here. Keep trying to lift, keep trying to lift. Right, 3, 2, 1. That's so hard. And then just find your stretch again. And then let's have a little think about making this hamstring perform in its most. This is its biggest thing actually. If you run, you make this shape a lot while you're in a stride, so the standing leg's a little bit different, but it's this pull up. If I put my finger just here underneath my bum cheek, I can feel this hamstring really like performing. I can feel it tense and find this shape. That's important. We teach it to be lengthened when it needs to be lengthened, but how to perform when it needs to perform. Yes. Okay. And then, because we talked a little bit about this last week as well, let's have a little think about our ankles again. We'll do some different ankle stuff this time. So I want you to put your right foot forward, bend both knees. Put weight on your back foot a little bit more, and this heel stays down. I want you to lift your toes up towards your knee and back down. Toes up towards your knee and back down. So we're making this muscle on the front of our shin keep doing this shape. While you're doing this, the weight is on this back foot. Maybe you could even lift your foot on this front foot, so you're doing a bit of balance. And you should be able to feel with this hand on the outside of your bum that this bum muscle is tensing, holding you up. Toes pressed down, keep lifting this foot. And then lift this foot up and wave side to side without letting your knee move. This is the biggest one. This is the most important one, that you can get your foot into this pulling back position, dorsiflexion. I lost the words for a second there. And you can make it perform without asking anything of the knee or of the hip. So this ankle can do its job. And then we point our toes and see if you can wave side to side like this. Really point your toes. Imagine a straight line from shin to the top of your foot. That's it. Perfect. And we swap legs. Let's try it on the other side. So a little bend in both knees. Put the weight on the back foot. Feel the weight through this bum muscle. This is kind of part of the thing. I want to train this, able to hold you up and keep lifting toes up towards your knee as often as you can. Really try and find the corners, find the stuff to be able to push into. That's it. A few more, and then see if you can do it with your foot lifted up, and it becomes different. So different actually for me on this left foot. I want no confusion where it like judders around, and it will judder a little bit. Mine is a bit, and I think I've got good ankles. But the more I teach this ankle how to perform fast or slow or strong, I've got more options. I can do more things. Okay, and pull this toe up, wave your foot side to side, a little bend in this knee. Keep this going. Perfect. And point your toes. See if you can keep this standing leg bent. It's tempting to lock it out so you've got a skeleton to stand on, but we're asking ankle and knee and hip to be able to keep stable as you wave this foot side to side. That's hard. Yes. There we go. Okay, then let's have a little look back at our hamstrings again and our ankles at the same time. So I want you to go feet together, push your heels together. Should make your bum muscles tense. Flip up this bottom rib, little tiny bend in both knees. Keep this rib flipped up, keep your heels pushing together and hinge down until you find hamstring stretch here. Keep pushing your heels together, keep flipping up this bottom rib. It's important here to be humble and not think that you should be able to touch your toes. I'm kind of flexible, nowhere near my toes, because I'm maintaining this position in my back and I'm using the muscles in my belly and my hip flexors to pull me down while these muscles here maintain this shape in my back. Breathe, relax your jaw, push toes down, push heels together. And I've got to really tune in to not let my spine kind of curl around here and let gravity do its thing. I'm fighting gravity. That's it. And then come back up. Fantastic. So because our hamstrings have had a fair bit of work there, let's have a little look at the outside of our hips. I'm going to keep going with this and be really consistent in programming this version of 90-90 or pigeon stretch as much as we can. So you bring your shin across your body on the arm of a chair. If the arm of your chair isn't suitable, or if you're in your bedroom and don't have a sofa to deal with, then you can do it kneeling in against the bed or against the chair. Just imagine like this was the front of the sofa. I'd have my knee on the floor on this standing leg, same shape. I like standing because I've got way more options to move around. I'm just going to put this light on to look like I'm in darkness a bit. I've got way more options to explore here, which works for me. You know I like the options. I like having different shapes to be able to play with. And then flip this bottom rib up and see if you can find hamstring stretch without asking anything of your spine. I can actually drop my hips down a little bit lower because I've been kind of consistent in teaching this across all of the yoga classes I teach and in a couple of my online PTs. I've been joining in this a lot. I've improved this for me, doing this version of this stretch. I feel like I've hit a bit of a wall doing it on the floor in 90-90 or in pigeon stretch. And it's still helpful and still good and never between right and wrong. But this works for me way better, and it works for me a lot with clients who suffer with tight glutes and tight hamstrings, because there's just loads of ways to make this work better where you don't ask for more of your spine, or like the back leg doesn't get in the way as much. It just wins for me. It's my favourite. Okay, so I'm dropping my hips lower to get me deeper into this stretch. It still works the same if I lean over, I can feel the stretch more, but I like the hips dropping lower so it brings this shin closer to my chest. Let's get into the hard work now. I want you to drive your shin down through the sofa. Push hard. Keep pushing harder and harder. Breathe and push, breathe and push. Keep driving, keep driving. Going 3, 2, 1. I want you to lean over as much as you can, and you can curl your spine over even and see if you can drive this shin down through the sofa, through your bed, whatever you're leaning on. And then pick yourself up. See if you can stand up as tall as you can, and then see if you can lift this shin. Hands either side of my thigh tends to work for me. And I'm just trying to tune into this hip flexor while this thigh is externally rotated. Keep lifting, going 3, 2, 1, and drop and stretch. And then come out up onto your feet, wherever you've been from that stretch, and then just move this around from internal to external rotation from this thigh bone here. That's it. Then see if you can do that loaded. So when you put this foot down, toes down, and imagine this pocket here comes forwards, comes back, and your knee on this balancing foot stays stable. I feel like rotation and spirals, what makes us athletic. There's way more to gain from training this rotational stuff than we realise. The forwards and backwards and the side to side works as well, and we need that because it's the way that we can create the most load. So you can squat, you can lunge, you can lift weights forwards and backwards, up and down. If you ignore this rotational stuff, we're missing out on so much. There we go. Okay, let's try this on the other leg. So bring this shin across your body like this. That is it. Just see if you can just hang out first. Just stand up, explore it a little bit, move your spine around. Hopefully getting a little stretch on the outside of this hip, this bum muscle here, and then see if you can find a little bit more space to move into as you lower yourself down. Relax your jaw, shoulders down away from ears, flip this bottom rib up, keeping this neutral lumbar spine. Stick with it. Just keep breathing here. Try to look for this feeling here in this outside of the hip. If you're getting anything in your knee, then you probably need to stand up a bit taller, even tiptoes works, and lift this knee up a little bit, stack something under it, and then hinge forwards until you can find this stretch only here, because this knee shouldn't be feeling much or anything at all, really. So again, I'm going to keep dropping my hips lower. I tend to find this works better for me. That's it. Then we start driving down. So you're going to push your shin down through the sofa as hard as you can. Keep driving down. Keep pushing. Keep driving down, driving down, driving down. Going 3, 2, 1. Lift yourself up. Oh, sorry, no, wait, don't. Keep pushing down and find the very end range that you can get into while you're pushing this shin down. And then lift yourself up. And then try and lift this shin to try and get some air time. Shoulders down. Breathe. Keep lifting. Keep lifting, keep lifting. And come out. Ugh. Yes. And then find a little bit of motion from this hip, from external to internal rotation. You should be able to feel this outside of your hip. That's it. Then bring this foot down, rotate. So a lot of people get confused with this, but if you imagine like you fused your foot, your ankle, your knee, just so still, nothing happening there, and you stopped your hip where your femur goes into the pelvis, you stop that from doing anything other than pencil sharpener rotation. That's what I'm after. You can feel like you're in control of this pencil sharpener rotation. If you can balance while you do it, then you are winning at balance, because it is quite tough. I've got to really cling on hard, and it helps my ankle as well to be able to do this good stability. Barefoot or in socks really works best for this. Let's go a couple more. Last one. Yes. There we go. Okay, what time are we on? Good timing. Alright, so if you come down in seated on the edge of your sofa again, let's just check in with our spine again. I want you to see if you can feel like you can go from extension to flexion, extension to flexion. Then I want you to flip up into extension and hold it. So if it helps you, put your fingertips underneath your rib cage and lift. And then lift your arms up. Try and reach back towards the back of your sofa without letting your spine move. and then lift again, and then lift, reach back so you touch your sofa, and then lift again. Try and feel all of this rear stuff in your shoulders. A couple more. Yes. And then just move your neck side to side, keeping the closing angle side long, so you're not like collapsing down like this. Keeping your shoulders down. See if you can lengthen your neck. And then, see if you hold it in one side bend. Assess the rest of your body while you're in this side bend, looking for this stretch down the side of your neck. Can you rotate and rotate, rotate and rotate? Keep it going. Then come across the other side. Keep breathing. Yes, there we go. I find that just that little bit of side to side and rotation plus side bending is enough to maintain my neck stuff. We've got other movements to look at as well, like up and down and rotation while looking up and things like that, because we all know, we've probably all been there, where you move your neck a weird way one time, or you're yawning and move your neck and something clicks in your neck. That always comes from a bit of confusion from your body, from your neuromuscular system, from these muscles and connective tissue that they don't know how to perform, because we don't move our necks that much. You don't have to. When you drive your car, you've got mirrors, you can barely, you can just drive to the length of the country and barely look behind you. If you don't use something in your body, then it atrophies, it wastes away. We know that when you break your leg and get your leg put in plaster, when you take that plaster off, the muscles have literally wasted away, and you've got a leg way skinnier than the other one because there's no muscle mass there. If we don't use these muscles in our neck daily, then the muscle mass breaks down, and as we get older, that gets faster because we move less and less and less. So just doing a daily little bit of even a token gesture movement of your neck for 30 seconds while you wait for the kettle to boil. If this is something you deal with daily that annoys you and hurts you, just be smart about it and move around a little bit, but don't go into pain. If anything hurts you, that vulnerability is a warning sign that something's going to go. So you just need to back away from that, move where it's safe to, and hopefully you can repair that just by moving and getting blood flow and getting stuff to go. Whilst keeping stuff really still doesn't do us any favours at all. Okay. Just breathe for a second. Before we finish up, let's just feel your footprint. Feel where your pelvis, where your hips are, how you are sat on the sofa. See if you can breathe out as slowly as you possibly can. Then bring your palms together. Thumbs to forehead, tuck your chin and roll forwards. And namaste. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been fun as always, and like always, let me know what you're working with, let me know what you need more of, and we'll work it out. We'll drop it in wherever we can and make it so that we help you to get better at whatever it is you need to get better at, whether it's wrists, ankles, knees, hips, being fast, jumping high. There's something that can be related to the way we stretch and the way we move our bodies that can help you to perform better at that. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. See you all back in the gym very soon. All right. Bye everyone. Bye.